Thank you, Mike. New this morning, San Antonio firefighters responded to a house fire on the city's northwest side late last night. Happened in the 1800 block of West Magnolia near North Elmendorf and San Antonio Boulevard. Crews were able to put the fire out, but not before the home was severely damaged. We're told no one was home at the time and nobody was hurt. No word yet on a cause.
A former San Antonio police officer who fired 2 shots towards teens running from him and who was indefinitely suspended in 2020 is now under arrest and charged with deadly conduct with a firearm. According to online records, Oscar Cruz Jr. was arrested last night. The records also say Cruz had received the indefinite suspension for an incident he was called to in the 9500 block of Five Forks in March of 2020. He had responded to calls about 2 teens pulling on vehicle door handles. Documents show the officer tried detaining one of those teens who ran away from him. Records say that during the chase, Cruz pulled out his service weapon and fired 2 rounds in the direction of the suspects. Cruz was also hit by an object thrown by one of the teens. Cruz was handed the termination in October of 2020. You can read more on this story on our website at KSAT.com.
Out of the crisis in Ukraine, this is a live look from Kyiv, where it is 12:33 in the afternoon. There's now a threat of cyber warfare, which could easily cross borders. The big question, could a Russian cyber attack spread the NATO countries, dragging the U.S. into war?
ABC's Derek Dennis has more.
This morning, security officials on alert for possible Russian cyber attacks, not just in Europe, but here in the U.S.
This country, taken as a whole, is not ready for a massive cyber attack.
Former Trump administration Homeland Security advisor Tom Bossert points to last summer when ransomware hackers believed to be affiliated with Russia shut down the Colonial gas pipeline running from Houston to New York by hitting the company's billing system, not its industrial controls.
Most businesses in this country are very vulnerable despite all of the good work being done by the federal government. The federal government's not protecting directly their networks.
Senate Intelligence Committee Chair Mark Warner warns Putin has not yet unleashed Russia's full cyber capabilities.
If the Russians launch a more massive cyber attack and, for example, try to shut down all the power in Ukraine, you can't control once you unleash cyber weapons, malware, by geographic locations. That kind of incursion could move us into what could be potentially viewed as a Article 5 attack against Poland. That, by definition, means if you attack one NATO nation, you attack all of them.
But would a cyber attack, which could easily extend across borders into NATO countries, drag the U.S. into war by triggering Article 5?
That, again, is up to the NATO alliance to determine, but obviously a cyber attack does constitute an attack, so that would certainly be a point of discussion among the NATO members.
Whether it would actually cause a reaction, it would likely be a response in the cyber arena.
In the meantime, the Homeland Security Department is urging American companies and local governments to act now to secure their networks. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
The nation's strictest abortion law was before the Texas Supreme Court yesterday, and now an attorney representing abortion clinics says he no longer sees a way in this case to halt the law. The Austin-based court took no immediate action. Since September, the laws banned abortions roughly after 6 weeks of pregnancy and resulted in a sharp drop in abortions across the state. The law is currently enforced by private citizens who can collect $10,000 or more by suing doctors who perform abortions.
Longtime Donald Trump ally Roger Stone is suing to keep the January 6 House Select Committee from seeing his cell phone records. The committee investigating the Capitol riots is seeking records including Stone's personal number, contacts, and call session times. Stone argues that data about communications with his lawyers and spiritual leaders should stay private and that the committee's pursuits are invalid. Stone appeared for testimony in December following a subpoena from the committee, but took the fifth and didn't answer questions. He is not alone in taking legal action to fight the committee. More than 20 potential witnesses have sought to block the committee's pursuits of phone records by challenging the House's subpoena power in court.
President Joe Biden has chosen his first Supreme Court nominee. An announcement could come as early as today after exactly 2 years after Biden pledged to choose the first African-American female justice. The exact timing is fluid right now because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Aides say the name will be revealed before the State of Union address coming up on Tuesday. Right now, 4:37, about 33 degrees.